We'll say it again because we said it immediately as soon as we finished recording. That was so much fun. I don't think we've ever not said that, but I still have tears rolling down my face. I'm getting pretty bad at that, but
That's going to show how much fun you're having doing the show, Graham.
oh, it absolutely is. Yeah, I would say that's why it's. I actually kind of like those Friday records. Like Fridays sometimes can be like kind of brutal, but it's kind of like at the end, it's like that's good to after sometimes a bit of a tough day, without many laughs to get all those to get out. Yeah, I didn't realize that we hadn't had Chad on before. I honestly thought that we had, but that will probably come out later. But yeah, I think that's right at the end of the show, right?
Is right in the show, Graham. Yes, it's a good one, guys. For sure, I love it. I'm
A little
loving.
bit too much talk about Dungeons and Dragons, but if you edit that stuff out, you can. If you use that 30-second skip button, guys, it'll be a good
Graham,
episode.
if I edit out the Dungeons and Dragons chat, it'd be about 5 minutes long the episode. So
I got a good nap in there in the middle. But
oh, shut up, Graham. Graham, you just don't appreciate it.
I do not. I do
Would
not.
you ever play a tabletop game if it was a wrestling based one?
No, I don't think so.
Ah, fair
I mean,
enough.
when you just said, would you play a tabletop game? I was going to say yes. I've played Subudio. Subudio was great.
Well, there is a tabletop RPG which is actually wrestling based. I've actually seen it played, and it's actually really, really good. It's probably the only one you probably ever play, but
Mason got a kind of one like that, and we got it for I don't know birthday or Christmas or whatever. And I guess I had the one I had to play with it. It was kind of complicated. It was for probably 3 years ago. Jay was too young, like he was 4, he couldn't follow it,
yeah.
and too complicated. He just got bored with it. I got bored with it straight away, and then Mason never really had anyone to play with him against it. His mom had no interest in playing with it. It was too complicated for Jay. Yeah, it was just too much trouble. Yeah,
Well,
nope.
if Mason ever gets into D&D, send them Dungeon Junkies. We'll let him play with us.
Okay, sounds good. I did have a Dungeons and Dragons story to share with you, and I honestly can't. I should have written it down. I honestly can't remember what it
Well,
is. So
if he comes back to you, Graham, bring it up. If not,
I'll
we'll bring
write
it
it
up next week.
next time it comes back to me. I'll write it down, and I can share it with you next time.
Okay, so we're going to talk about.
I had a tweet that I didn't manage to fit in the show, and I was like, perfect, I'll just talk to you about it now. I got something to. I feel really bad about missing Ring of Honor. I keep saying that Ring of Honor is good, and I keep trying to watch it, but just not managed to see it. Particularly that fact that we heard from High Five Tom really makes me want to go back and watch Ring of Honor. I'm deliberately not mentioning what it is because I know this will come out before the actual show comes out. But I have somebody from Ring of Honor on here, though. As this is my bonus cop moment, Matt. At Big Bad Kaiju, if you recognize that, O'Shea Edwards. The idea has been proposed to run a show in DC for the second half of 2021 or early 2022. Oh, you have my attention, O'Shea. It continues, I'd be lying if I wasn't mulling it over. Ooh, okay, keep going. I'd also be lying if I haven't proposed an 8-match card. Okay. I'd definitely be lying if I said it wasn't going to run at DC Brow. Just an idea, though. DC Brow is where Primetime Pro was running when they started after Nova Pro finished as well. So that's definitely got my interest as well. Josh Fuller tweeted afterwards, I'd be lying if I didn't say I want the chance to reintroduce myself to the DMV. DMV
Oh,
is
how fun! Yeah.
DC, Maryland, Virginia area. So, yes, I would be delighted. I didn't realize Josh Fuller had a serious injury. That's why he was out for so long. I guess I'd missed the injury somewhere.
You
Anyway, so
told
yeah,
me about it.
I guess I'd forgotten. Or perhaps I didn't realize it was as serious as what it actually was. Then
Hmm.
perhaps that was the thing. I was like, oh, I'm surprised he
That's
hasn't.
why he was doing all the managerial stuff. Yeah.
Actually, I remember the thing. He was supposed to come back at crab wrestling. It was introduced, and then he didn't do it. So I was like, oh, okay. I wonder what happened. And then it kind of, yeah, obviously COVID happened, and then lots of other things happened as well. So
Very good news because I'm a big fan of Josh Fuller and looking forward to seeing what he can do.
that's probably obviously the first moments from Nova Pro for us would be meeting the Ugly Ducklings, Tim Donst, but then afterwards, as we would go to shows, Josh Fuller mocking Mason, knocking his hat off as he'd walk by onto the floor, doing actions to like I say, totally didn't need to be done, but it was the attention to detail of entertaining that one fan at a time Credit to him for doing that. As a young wrestler, he got it. He understands that you make those connections one at a time, and yeah, it stuck with us and very entertaining. Doesn't need to even wrestle to be entertaining. Like you said, when he was a manager, still good. That's the sign of the whole complete person. Really, you can do everything.
The sports entertainer.
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yes, I would hope that Josh. I would love if O'Shea can run this. I would love it even more if Josh Fuller was at it as well, and I would look forward to going to that event.
So that is your first. When you think of Josh Fuller, that's the first thing you think of, is it? Him knocking Mason's hat off, that sort of thing.
I think of that. Obviously, we interviewed him as well, and we
Well,
talked.
that's not my first thought of Josh Fuller. It's when you were playing Are You Smarter Than Jackson with the Ugly Ducklings, and you cut away for 30 seconds and say, "We've got Josh Fuller here. Do a quiz for you next time, Josh." And I'm like, that's my first thought, because he was up for it, and that's the sort of thing. He knows how important the young fans are, and you gotta love that. You gotta
I
love
don't
that.
think I would have asked him though if we hadn't have had that connection already with him. Like we talked to him a few times, we'd had those few interactions, and for that reason, I felt because in that first year of MGB, I didn't feel comfortable approaching people. We were a small, little bitty dad and son organization, putting on a podcast just for kicks, kind of stuff, and I didn't have that confidence, and I felt like it was troubling people, like it was bothering them. Like, hey, can we? Like, you have other things to do with your time. That's not important at all. But the fact that I felt confident enough to do that tells me that from the time I can't remember the exact chronology, but that tells me that we'd interacted with him multiple times at that point.
Confidence comes with time, Graham. I can vouch for that. I mean, I know that I'm a very confident podcaster, and I'm a touch arrogant at times. I'll agree. Trying to laugh
I
at.
won't use that phrase this time. I'll save it. I've used it the last 2
I
weeks.
I am very arrogant, but that is also part of my persona I portray. I get nervous before every single podcast I record. Every single one still.
Really? That surprises me.
I do. I get that little flush in my belly. And sorry, but it gets worse when I'm doing D&D stuff, because it does, because obviously you've written a story, but as soon as you go to be presented to your players, they can take that and they can literally just rip it in half, metaphorically speaking, and completely change it, and you've got to be bang, bang, bang. And I get scared that sometimes I can't do that. But the anxiousness soon goes away, because I also know that I trust my players. And same thing, when you interview someone, you have that connection, so you know that you can do the bit of banter, you know that you can make jokes with these people, that sort of thing. Like you did for Ducklings, for example, you knew that you could do the quacking, you could do quack quack quack, and and Josh Fuller, and obviously when you very famously mentioned when Mason got that sweaty hug off of that female wrestler,
Kylie Ray.
Kylie Ray, yes, Smiley Kylie, exactly. You know that they can have that sort of bond, Graham, and you're only going to get more of those as you get back to doing more indie stuff again.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's one of the things why, for me, when I was trying to construct Good Cop, Bad Cop, I needed that format to kind of cover. I needed that. That's when I don't get nervous. If I can plan things out and I know what's going to happen, obviously there'll be certain things, like I don't know what you're going to say exactly, but that doesn't affect the podcast at all. As long as I'm in control of what I need to do, then everything's good. That was kind of why I went on a couple of other shows last summer. Like, it took me out of my comfort zone. Like, I didn't know what was going on because I was on their show. I had no idea what they were going to talk about. I did not know if I could keep. It was kind of good to do that, but yeah, no, the Good Cop Bad Cop format, that really helps me in terms of yeah, I don't feel nervous doing it. I don't think I really did actually, even those first ones with you, to be honest. Just because I know the way we talk. Like, it was perfect for podcasting. I knew it would be. I knew it would kind of work out. I think that chemistry between two people is really important to begin with. The podcasts, the dynamic between the hosts or co-hosts.
Yeah, but it's also, you can also tell sometimes when there isn't chemistry between hosts.
Sure.
I can't think of any podcasts come to mind but I do know
Because you
that
don't listen to them. As soon as you have that one where it doesn't work, you don't listen to it anymore.
exactly. So
It's where they're
exactly.
good. They're the ones that drag you in, and you continue to listen to them. But no, I've had some where I've switched it off within 15 minutes. I'm
Mm,
like, no, this is just not work. I don't have that sort of time where I'm going to listen to a bad podcast. But
yeah.
yeah, you need that. I still think one of the key things is that the characters between the two are important. But laughter. If you hear laughter on a podcast, I think that's a positive sign. If people are having fun with it.
Well, you've heard plenty of that on episode 145 for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure.
You got anything
Uh,
to share?
yes. As mentioned, it seems to be a running update sort of thing on how cans are progressing. Uh, on the 1st of June, we are off to look at a venue.
Oh, okay.
Mm. We've already had our first proposal through from them regarding the price. We may have to move the date though, because it's going to be because it's during term time. So we want as many people as possible. So we may have to. We're looking. We're going to move it to possibly start of April that year instead. So bring
Okay.
it forward about a month. So that invite's still there if you want it.
If it's spring break, if it's during spring break, I'll be able to. Yeah,
Easter
I can
sort of
take
time.
a flight over for that. Yep.
Okay, well the invite's still there for you.
I don't know if I don't think our calendar's been set for that. It wouldn't be a whole family thing. It would just be a me thing for that period of time.
Okay, well there's hotel rooms there as well, so you can have breakfast as well before you go back home.
Uh huh.
It's worth
Yeah.
it, trust me.
Let me know once you got the date. Yeah, if I can, then that would be yeah. If it's during spring break, then yeah, that's for sure.
We
I'll be.
we can even record a show for and then drop, and then I can drop it before we get back to the States as well, even better.
I'm sure Chris would love that idea.
Oh, we could definitely do that for night before the wedding. It's fine. I'll need
Yeah.
something to focus, man. I'll be too nervous. I need something to calm me down.
Now I got a question. This is probably a really dumb question. So
When when your
for
question's ever done?
for gay weddings in this situation, then do
Yeah.
both men have a stag party? Like normally the bride in a I don't want to say traditional, 'cause you know what I'm talking about. Normally the bride goes on her hen night or whatever. I think there's a different word in England or America. I can't remember. And then the guy goes on the stag night.
Bachelorette party.
Bachelorette. Thank you. Oh, good. I used the English word. Yes. Still sticks with me a little bit. So do you guys both have a stag party? Or is it on the same night?
Um, we share a lot of the same friends.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
But at the same time, obviously, my best man is James, my brother.
Yeah.
And well, I asked him. We actually it was our final group chat messenger call because obviously now we can actually meet up in person and actually
Yeah.
socialize properly with sensibleness, obviously.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
And I waited for the whole family to be on. And I asked him, and he looked so choked up when I asked him. I was so he was so proud to be asked. Um, Chris has got his friend Russell, who's an absolute top bloke. He really is. Um, we've we've got two best men. We've got 6 nibblings, so they're going to be that's that's the actual term for nieces and nephews, but the siblings and nibblings.
Gotcha.
Did you know the phrase for that? Did you know that?
No, I did not.
That's
No,
the actual phrase for it, a nibbling.
I just thought that they're kind of like if you take a nibble, it's like a small bite. So I just assumed it was like a small person. I'm obviously taking half of the word there, so I kind of figured out what it was. But no, I didn't. I didn't put this. I didn't get the sibling part from that at all. No.
Yeah. Exactly what it means. Yeah, it's great. So we've got 3 page boys and 3 bridesmaids. It actually works quite well. It's lovely. And if we can have it how we want it, it's going to be the best wedding ever. And I'm even going to have entrance music. Would you say you walk down the aisle? Did you walk down the aisle to something in fairness?
Nice, I like it.
Yes, although I'm gonna ask him to have the Rock's theme song on hand in case he does turn up. I don't think he will.
He's not RSVP'd yet.
Well, I haven't sent invites out yet. To be fair, Graham. Yet.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm whittling the list down, Graham. We've got too many people to invite. We're having to pick.
You got I thought you were going to say 2 million. My autocorrect feature is not working very well today.
How did you get million from many? Jesus wept.
No, because the m sound. It was and I was like, oh, he's going to say 2 million. No. Too many. Oh,
So
we didn't get the giggle on this show either. Ah,
it's Granbo.
and Chad, I think, was one of the people who also mentioned it at one point as well, like the get the giggle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Um, I mentioned briefly that obviously, if you're watching this as this is on here when it was first launched, to I think you're doing this on Saturday, Graham, are you? Or is it
No, this will
Friday
be coming out today.
Friday on Friday night is coming up. So 2 days from today, obviously, is the final day of the Premier League season, and I'm obviously doing full commentary of that the
Uh,
entire day with Techers. We're doing a whole.
Please don't cover the Liverpool game.
I'm not covering the Liverpool game, Graham,
Oh, for God's sake. That
but
means they're covering the Liverpool game.
our
Oh,
friend Mags is covering it.
you gotta be kidding me. All right. Oh,
Our
well.
Mags,
Europa League, here we come.
Mags is covering it, and obviously Tanner's on there as well.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed, special guest star Conrad Newton.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I know he was robbed when the Manchester United Liverpool game a couple of weeks ago because of the game got cancelled in the end. But yeah.
He was gutted, PSA in
Oh, I
Birmingham.
was going to send you that tweet because obviously fans have been allowed back in stadiums this week as well.
Great.
I don't know if I did share the tweet with you, but it was like it's so nice to see Manchester United fans back in the stadium. It's been such a long time ago, 2 weeks.
Yeah. And all of them who were in this week were all in green yellow scarves as well. It was lovely to see. It was very nice.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, I don't condone them like breaking into the ground. That was going too
Yeah,
far.
of
But
course.
they did make their point.
Yeah, they certainly did, and they had a lot of those signs that Glazers out thing. But yeah, I don't know if that'll. I don't think that's going to force their hand. But we'll see if they stop turning up at games. It probably would. Now, I think it would be only. I think we have to talk about this. I know we talked soccer last week, but we have to talk about it again. We have a good cop moment with a capital K right here as well. I talked about. I said that Liverpool. I said Liverpool would lose one. I said they would draw. You said they would win all three games. I said they would win two and draw one, and it looked like that draw was actually going to happen last weekend. Was it the weekend? I forgot
Yes.
the chronology. Yeah, it was last weekend, and yeah, it looked like that was going to happen. 95th minute, 5 minutes of injury time. The goalkeeper Allison goes up. Trent Alexander-Arnold again delivers a perfect ball from a corner, and the goalkeeper heads it into the goal, gets the win. The first time in Liverpool's near 130-year history that a goalkeeper has scored. I think it's the first time in Premier League history that a goalkeeper has scored the winning goal. Normally, the goalkeeper goes up when their team is behind, and it's kind of like hockey we talked about earlier. Like, it's whatever. If we lose, we lose. We can't lose anymore. You try and get the draw. This was not for the draw. This was for the win. That makes it, and it was the best header you'll probably ever see from a centre. How is that? That got to, surely that's got to be a candidate for goal of the season.
Graham, not only that, but there's been, I think, 6 goalkeepers score in the Premier
Yeah.
League.
Yep.
Not one of them has been for a header
Oh, really? Oh no, that I did.
until
I did
Allison
see them
scored.
goal kicks, obviously, when they. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's
Huh.
been free kicks and goal kicks, and scruffy little drops to them. They just punt it as hard as they can.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only one I saw on Sky Sports goalkeepers goals was a header, and it was better than most centre forwards you've seen in the
It
league
was
as well.
brilliant. He couldn't have placed it any
Yeah,
better.
and of course he dedicated that, of course, to his dad, of course, who passed
He
away,
looked straight up at the sky. Yeah.
and he's just had a new baby as well, born as well, and
Yeah.
um, he single-handedly kept in the game as well, and then scored the winner. He literally won us the game of football. It's not often you can say that about a goalkeeper.
Yeah. No. It was just ridiculous. And listening to all the pundits talking about it, that you just don't expect it. Yeah. It was great to see, and as a Liverpool fan, it was particularly
It was
poignant.
it was wonderful to watch, Graham. And then instead of doing that game on Techers, we went and did the Everton game, which was right after, of course, which was still nice for Liverpool fans to see because Everton lost, of course, to Sheffield United.
I
It,
did like the tweet as well. I posted it on our website that where we first met FT316, and it was somebody posted that Allison has now scored a goal every 130 games for Liverpool or whatever it is, whereas Jamie Carragher, who was a legend for the club, who played over 500 games, averaged a goal every 170 games, and even Carragher had to laugh at that one. He spelled Allison wrong in the tweet, which slightly lessened it,
Do
but
you want to hear a
it's
scary little
incredible
fact,
statistic.
Graham?
I'm
Scary
sorry.
little, here's a scary little fact for you. Alison Becker this season has scored the same amount of goals as Willian has for Arsenal, and Donny van der Beek has scored for Man United.
There was another one I saw on that list as well. I
Who
want to say
was?
Danny Welbeck, I think.
No, he scored a few. He scored a few this year.
Oh, okay. It wasn't Danny Welbeck then,
No.
unless they were non-Premier League games. There was another big name I saw on that list, or somebody who would have been a yeah. And then it was a strange game.
It's been a strange season, Graham.
Oh,
But of course, the season may end on Sunday, but next Tuesday they announce the England European Championship team, 26 players who go to battle with the rest of Europe as the favourites. This has really got bad written all over it. As
no, they can't be. Is
we
that
are,
true?
England are favourites with France,
How?
joint favourites with
Sorry.
France.
I'm sorry, but I don't know how. Oh, you're just talking about the bookies in England? Okay, well, that's because
The
England fans.
reason, no, the reason they're favourites, Graham, because they're hosting most of the games.
Ah, okay.
They play all their games at Wembley.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
and of
okay.
course,
That is significant.
if we get to the semi and final, we're hosting them as well.
Okay, all right.
So we have a very realistic
Whew.
chance of getting through all those games and and winning the cup at Wembley Stadium.
Wow.
Chris made a very good point when I was saying this to him the other night. He's like, it's going to be one of two things: either England are going to be terrible and go out in the group stage, or to win it.
Yeah. For people that don't know soccer history,
Yeah.
England won the World Cup just once, 1966, and it was in London. It was in England. The one time the World Cup has been held in England. So yeah, definitely you get kind of flashbacks to that kind of thing. Oh wow, that would be perfect.
Exactly. Euro '96 was the closest we came since then, up until 2018, Graham, when you came back to the
I was
UK.
about to say, yeah, I was in it. I was in England at the time. We were
We
at
watched
the
the
we
World
watched
Cup
that game.
match. We watched the Brazil v Belgium match,
We did. Yep. Yep.
and with fish and chips.
Yep.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
On the seafront. Yep.
Yes, that was quite fun. I still remember getting soaked by Jackson as well. No regrets. No regrets. That weekend will live long in my memory.
It was a good time. It was a good time for sure. All right, we're over 20 minutes. I think we've met our criteria, Matt. I think we'll. You want to go ahead and click the unrecord button?
We'll do that, guys. We're back next week, guys. We are out of here.
Boom.